Coming up in this episode, where does it begin? Like, where do you look at a burger and just think, how fast can I consume that?
I mean, doesn't everyone ask themselves that question?
You sound incredibly driven. You're not there to take part. You are there to fucking win.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're an incredible role model for other women as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I did not like the sight of myself, so I couldn't bear to share myself eating, like, ever. It's turned into something that is beyond what I ever thought that it would be. I do what I need to do to maintain who I am whilst doing what I do. So I don't want it to kind of be all-encompassing and just suddenly like become the image of what people think of when they think of a competitive eater. And I'd like to think that I don't look like what people think of when they think of a competitive eater. There's never really been a box for me to fit in, so I'm now making my own.
we're going to talk about Leah's 27 Guinness World Records
I averaged around 4 or 5
a day.
a day, and then we
Sorry, these
submitted
are
world records. Yeah.
To be sitting though in the top something in the world at anything is
mad.
amazing. Like 7 billion people on the planet, and like you're like top 5, like seconds. Like, that's amazing.
and it's easy.
APMA, how we doing? We're back with an incredibly special guest today. We have Europe's #1 competitive eater, Leah Shutkever. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you for joining us today. I don't think you really need an introduction, but tell us, about yourself.
Oh no, I definitely think I need to introduce myself. Hello everyone, my name's Leah Shutkever. I'm Europe's #1 female competitive eater.
I'll give you both.
Because we don't like drama. And yeah, I'm a professional competitive eater. I make videos. I've got a YouTube channel. I've also got a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the rest. I make content for a living.
The dream.
The dream.
So I think the most obvious place to start, which is something that interested me, is where does it begin? Like, where do you look at a burger and just think, how fast can I consume that?
I mean, doesn't everyone ask themselves that question? Isn't it like a common thing? I have pretty much always been greedy like my entire life, and I'm not afraid to say it. I was a fat kid. I could eat a lot of food as a child. I also had a brother very close in age to me. We both played rugby. We were very competitive. And my dad is also, he really is like the embodiment of what is like a big eater. Like my dad is that. So he was a farmer. He grew up kind of very active, and he could eat.
Right.
And it was impressive. It still is impressive. He just doesn't have like the drive and motivation that I have to kind of be the best.
Yeah.
He's just kind of very unassumingly eat everything.
Does your dad beat you still? Or?
No.
No,
he does not.
You
I will
destroy
not
him
let
now.
No, I will not let him. The thing is, that it comes right down to you've got to have a motivation to do what you do and do it really well. And my dad doesn't have that motivation. He's like, look, I just enjoy the food. I just eat the food. But yeah, I'm there to win and nothing else. And I could care less about what the food was. So how does it start? I'll actually answer the question now. My older brother would go to this local restaurant back in 2013 and take on a food challenge. Now, this was around the time where Man vs. Food was super popular. Everybody was just, food challenges were just like popping up everywhere. And he would go to this local place with his mates, and they would all take on challenges. And he failed this one burger challenge 10 weeks consecutively.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I can't believe you. Like you're part of our family. Like, you're a Shutkever and you're letting us all down.
He's disowned now.
Do you know what I mean? And my dad, the way that he looked at it was like that disappointed side eye,
Oh, wow.
Like no guy wants to see their dad do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the same time, I was prepping for a bikini show. Don't like to talk about it, don't want to talk about it, don't ask me any questions about it.
Okay.
It's not for me, it's a world that is not for me. I dieted for 16 weeks, I competed. I went on stage and off stage very quickly, and I was like, nope, no, not for me. I was incredibly shy, did not like the cameras, didn't like to talk on camera or have my photo taken. It is just not the world for me. I ended up in there because I was bodybuilding quite young, much before women started bodybuilding, and I went through the whole learning to lift, eating properly, learning about nutrition, and it was just kind of the next step to do, and I was kind of peer pressured into doing it. So whilst I was living this really weird fitness life, my brother was going to this local restaurant attempting this food challenge, and I'm like, I think that I would do it. Like, I can eat, you know, like, I've always been able to eat, and I'm very competitive. So he said, after your little bikini show, cheers, bro, come and try the challenge and show us how it's done. And long story short, I went and I did it, and I set a record, and everyone was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I have an actual talent. So off the bikini stage, into the restaurant, eat the food, make it a career. It took a few years. It wasn't my ambition. I was at uni, I studied architecture, went into full-time employment. I was a commercial interior designer for 4 years. And yeah, the story does continue, and it gets very murky, but I'll let you guys take it away.
I mean, to be fair, I was going to do this later on. I asked our audience for some questions. And one of the questions was, as a guy who wants to get into competitive eating, and you said, obviously that was where you started, but what are, as we're here right now, what are the stages? I mean, where do you go from, okay, I've just got the record at this place near me.
Okay.
Where do you go from there? How do you make a living out of it?
Good question. So this was really not, like I mentioned before, this was not my ambition. I was working full time. I was a designer. I loved my job. I loved what I did. And I just went for fun, and I did a challenge for fun, and I set records for fun, and it was really just an excuse to get like a huge amount of calories on board. Because doing cheat meals around training, I really wasn't good at. I wasn't good at just going and eating food because my body needed it. I needed like a purpose for doing it. So challenges were perfect for me. So how do you get into it? I think I'm fortunate. Personally, I think that I was doing it because I love to do it, and I liked the fun around it and the social aspect of it, and I didn't end up filming myself.
Just so everyone knows, we're filming in a pizzeria where we're going to be filming a special. So if you do hear police sirens, that's because Northampton has high crime rates. So it's not our fault, okay? Also, if you're from Northampton, please don't unsubscribe.
We've just lost Northampton.
Sorry. Good to you.
Yeah, that's fine. So I didn't pursue this. So I don't really know what the first steps would be. The way that I kind of got into it was I was just making content because I wanted to. And I was contacted at my job, and I was offered. In fact, no, I'm telling a lie. Wait, let me backtrack. I'm backtracking. I was not on social media. Let me just make that very clear. 2013 to 2015, I did not like the sight of myself. So I couldn't bear to share myself eating, like ever, never. Then, because I'd been doing these food challenges, I then became the girl that eats the food in my local area, and people started talking. Fast forward 2015, at some point, my boss gets a phone call asking for me from a producer who is recruiting a Team GB for the World Championship Eating Competition, which was going to be held in New York. And they were doing a qualifier in London. And they were like, hey, so we've heard about you, but we can't see any like videos or documentation of what you're doing. I was like, yeah, well, for a very good reason.
You were like the Banksy of eating. It was like this mysterious person would just show up and the food would just disappear. No one knew. No one knew.
So there, funnily enough, and a story came out yesterday about a lady who would enter a baking competition every single year and win, but she is unknown. Nobody knows who she is.
That's quite cool.
And she won best jam, best scones. I'm like that, but the eating challenges. So I get this call and they said, can you tell us some more about the things that you've done? So I'm like at work, literally in my office, at my desk, because I wasn't on social media. They found my professional profile and they were like, you're like the only Leah Shutkever ever in the world. Like, of course we're going to find you. But like, so my boss thought, that's a bit sus, but okay. They invited me to London to do the qualifier. Other competitive eaters were there that I was aware of because they had channels already. They were already like in the loop, in the circuit. But I was the shy one. So yeah, I turned up. There were like 12 people all competing. Top 4 places would be flown out to New York. Didn't mention that it was for Japanese TV, so everything was in Japanese. There was... It was a very, very obscure...
it's very niche by the sounds of it.
Was it Japanese food? Or was it
They wanted British food.
Oh,
I said, bring the Japanese food. They were like, oh no, you're eating Scotch eggs. Cold Scotch eggs, midwinter, on the Thames, on the top deck of a boat.
God.
And I'm thinking, this is my worst nightmare because I don't like being cold. So we did it. I won the qualifier. I was like, this is crazy. Top 4 places got flown out to New York. Nice. Did that a couple of years consecutively because they brought us back because we're so charming. And we're actually really, we've got really good eating etiquette in comparison to the Canadians and the Australians. So they brought us back for a second round.
Nice.
So we got flown out to New York. They brought in a load of American YouTubers to come and compete at the World Champs. And we were just sat down, chilling, talking. I was obviously not on social media, still had Instagram, but not YouTube or anything. Right. And I definitely didn't make food eating content. Right. I was more fitness-based content, very boring, saturated market. Don't recommend it, 10 out of 10. And then they said, start an eating channel. And I was like, me? Why would I do, like, why? No one wants to see me eat. No, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. People want to see you eat. People want to sit down and watch you eat something in an impressive way for an amount of time, and that will pay you money. And I didn't believe it, obviously. Yeah. I was very shy, started a channel, very humble beginnings. If you go back to the start, very humble. They always are. Must apologize. It's really not. It's just everything's just not great, you know. Like visuals.
That's all progression.
That's the journey.
Yeah. So fast forward, I guess 2018 I started my channel very inconsistently, and then I started to become more consistent into 2019. I broke my first world record around that point. And then things started to grow massively. I got a massive shout out by a big YouTuber, and I jumped from like a few hundred subscribers to like a few thousand subscribers. I was like, oh my gosh, people are actually watching and communicating with me. And it really has just been, God, it's very cliche to say, but it's been a journey. It really has, because it really isn't just making content and making stuff that people want to see. It's about a lot of self-acceptance. It's a lot of like, this is my reality. I've just got to get over myself and just do it, you know? So
what I found really interesting that you said was when you was trying to eat for like, was it for like gym purposes or something, and you couldn't get the calories? Because I think I struggle with that. Like if I go to the gym or whatever, I struggle to eat. It like becomes this thing, and then it's like I'm not enjoying my food. Yeah. Like I could just, if I'm not training or whatever, I'm not thinking about it, I can go out. Yeah. So like, do you think it's more mind over sort of physicality or whatever?
Yeah.
Because like you sound like mentally, you sound so like mentally strong of how you can do stuff, and like say your whole journey, it just kind of feels like you've built up the sort of this mental strength to kind of get through lots of stuff, really. I've been sent a load of curveballs. I think I've just been kind of challenged a lot throughout my life, and it's kind of you swim or you sink. But with bodybuilding, the reason I got into it was because I was an overweight kid, and I was growing up through school. I was during the like size 0 era where they were pushing this like very skinny aesthetic to women. And I really wanted that. Like I remember being the designated ugly fat friend, just so that everybody knows the duff of the group. And I used to just be like, this is really unfair because I'm a really nice person, but nobody can see that. So not just nice though, like I tried really hard at stuff. Like I was I was good at rugby, I was good at, I don't know, ironing. I can cook. It just sounds like that you've got this competitive thing inside you, and like you won't give up, which is like, I think that's good for people to hear, because it's like I think sometimes people do believe that it's the genetic, what you're born with or whatever, but sometimes
it's
it is
all
just
what
drive,
it is.
and that's all you need is that mental drive.
It's a goal beyond it, isn't it?
Yeah. Because once you unlock that in your mind, it's like you can pretty much do anything, can it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of seems like once you sort of unlocked I can eat, I can start eating this food. It's like, oh, actually now I can get high numbers on YouTube, and then the whole thing becomes this thing. And you're like, right, this is my journey.
It's like that classic. The 4-minute mile was seen as impossible, and then one guy did it, and now I think 1,500 people have done it since.
Yeah.
Whereas before it seems like that wasn't humanly possible.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I probably don't give myself enough credit, because I see it as the much bigger picture, where I remember all the days that I didn't want to train and I didn't want to hit my calories, and I didn't want to film videos for social media, and I didn't want to put myself out there doing this thing that's actually not very feminine and not very attractive, and it's turned into something that is beyond what I ever thought that it would be. And I didn't know that. I was just I really do massively. I'm very opportunistic. I'm fortunate to be able to be given opportunities and be given the opportunity to take it and to try it and to fail and then get up. But with the eating thing, the best eaters, right? The best eaters are the people that struggle to gain weight at some point in their life. And the reason for that is because you're not eating for enjoyment. You're not, that's not the point of it. You're eating for sustenance, you're eating to hit your calories, to gain muscle, and that is not an easy process. And there are reasons that people cheat the system. There's reasons for it, because eating is really hard. So I went through that overweight stage into a stage where I lost all my muscle mass from rugby. I had a really bad injury, got into lifting weights through complete chance. When I was around 18, I started lifting. I didn't have a clue what I was doing till I was 21, at least 21. I had an ex-boyfriend that was a bodybuilder. He was like, look at these girls, they're bikini girls, they look fantastic, and they eat this much and train this much. And I thought, I could do this. I've got the frame for it. I could do this. So I went from being skinny, and I really was skinny. I was probably around 4 stone lighter than I am now. And now I'm sitting at 12 stone, and women think about that and go, oh my God, really? I'm like, I think that's right. I'm 75 kilos. Something like that. But my old mind would go, 75 kilos, that's far too heavy.
It's all about visual, isn't it?
Right. Muscle's heavier as well, isn't it?
So and we don't give ourselves that leeway and the credit and all of that.
People worry about the weight too much rather than the actual lifestyle.
Without a doubt. I was a PT for 4 years, and what I'd tell my clients, unless they had a specific weight goal, especially just from experience and observation, especially as you're alluding to there with women, because they're so fixated on the numbers on the scales. I'm like, look, you can go to 8 stone if you want, or you could look amazing at 10 stone, for example. You want the visual, not the number. Do you know what I mean? Because you can look unhealthy at any weight. Whereas, visually, if you can be happy in yourself, I think that is the most important thing, rather than fixating on how many pounds, how many stone. And
I think that for a lot of women, and I guess this is probably going far away from competitive eating, so sorry everyone.
No, it's good. This is good. This is golden.
I think for women specifically, the thing that changed for me was that stop trying to be skinny and actually just try to be strong. And that didn't come until I remember my first few days in the gym, and I remember picking up the weight and feeling like a 5 kilo dumbbell would be heavy to me. I was weak and I was skinny, and I remember looking at my arm in a mirror, in a full-size mirror, bearing in mind I would avoid mirrors like the plague. I was so self-conscious, it just was not for me. So I remember going to the gym and men would be looking at me like, what are you doing in here, first of all? Because women just didn't lift weights. But I had a goal, I had a purpose in my mind. I thought, no, I'm here to put on weight, and that means I have to push myself and I have to pick up the heavy weights and do all the things and eat all the food. And there were mornings that I'm eating porridge, literally stodgy porridge first thing in the morning, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. But you've got to have a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
Same with competitive
Purpose
eating
is
for
everything,
me.
isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm not winning, if I'm not there to win something and make a cool video, I wouldn't go. Like, why would I do it? So I've got purpose. So I'm there. I'm there to do well, to do a good job.
Yeah.
And,
You sound incredibly driven. You're not there to take part. You are there.
That's
I think I think you're
well,
an incredible role model for other women
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I say, to watch, because women up and down the country, they're with different. They won't eat certain foods. and it's food's food's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some women, they want to eat the food, but they don't. And it's like I say, you just living proof that you can eat what you want, and like I say, as long as you've got a good mindset and you know, to hit the gym and do these things.
I'm like an extreme example. I'm the end of the scale that I wouldn't recommend aspiring to.
Right.
Because what I do is very extreme. It's not something that if this wasn't my job,
you
I would not be doing this.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not. Because I have to maintain my weight. I have to fast. So I will fast even on days where I feel like
really
I
hungry.
want to eat. Or I will forego family dinners and things like that because I know that I'll be here today doing a challenge. Again, back to the purpose thing. You've got to have a reason to do something that you're doing, and it's got to mean more. I've had plenty of fantastic meals in my life, and I can take 1, 2, 3 days off per week and not eat, keep myself busy. I'm editing, I'm going to the gym, I'm keeping active, I'm renovating a house, so I'm so active all the time. And it's making the whole thing so much easier for me, to maintain. But people think I'm doing challenges every day. I'm not. I'm not. Could not do it. Would not do it. I would be a mess.
How often would you do challenges there, or do you do challenges?
This would be my challenge for a week, and then I probably won't do another one. Let's say next week, but it probably won't be the same type of challenge. Always different, and I try and switch it up, and then I post them a different time. So that it kind of looks like I'm more impressive than I actually am.
But I think that's good. Like I say, like some women like try and take your girlfriend out, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to eat that." And it's like, you know, once a week. If you're doing these challenges once a week, and you know,
you can do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can definitely do it. I do think I do get a lot of comments from people saying like, I only have to look at a burger and I've put on a pound. Well, that's not true though, is it? It's not true. No. Like I was overweight, and I knew that if I exercised and I was putting in the graft, and I was maybe being mindful of calories, because essentially, and bottom of the line is
100% calories in versus
there we go, calories in versus calories out.
That's the biggest thing I believe in. Or if it, like, no matter what weight point you're at, if you sat in a room for a week and starved yourself, I'm not saying do this, but I'm saying the basic science, if you sat in a room and starved yourself for a week, you will lose weight. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is so true. If you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. It's just the basic science.
The other things that very easy things that people don't do that they should do is drink more water. Like too many people are dehydrated.
Really
you're holding subcutaneous water. You're already heavier than you really should be or are.
Right on cue.
Sips water.
Sponsored by H1. That's it.
Voss.
Everybody.
Voss.
Drink more water. I drink a huge amount of water, more than maybe the average person even should, and that is because I'm counteracting sodium effects.
Okay.
A lot of the time, and I've been on 4 to 6 litres since I was around 15 years old.
Really?
So,
Jesus.
So I'm a very hydrated person.
So does that suppress the
hunger?
That's it. So I don't do that. It suppresses the hunger. Yeah.
So I found that chewing gum and drinking water suppressed hunger and created an incredibly strong jaw. Let me tell you. Years of being addicted to chewing gum. Years of it. I've never had jaw ache.
I have chewing gum all the time. So I don't know if it's good or bad.
It's good.
It's good. But I just, I constantly
Arnold Schwarzenegger used to chew gum all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
There
you go. See, that's right.
Strong jaws all around.
Can we just delve a little bit more, because this is one of the questions I had, because it fascinates me, and I know that I can't think of the guy's name, but the dude who did Man vs. Food, I know that
Adam Richman.
That's the one. He had to eat healthy between. The challenges to stay alive, basically. But could you just go into more detail or more numbers of how many days are you fasting? What are your splits for fasting? How many days are you in the gym? What are you training in the gym? Because that's how I used to be a PT. I've got and all that sort of stuff. So it does really interest me.
Okay.
That kind of side of things.
Okay, audience at home, sit down, buckle in.
There you go. Take notes. There we go.
No, don't take notes because I mean I don't know that I'm kind of typical of like your like typical woman. I'll give you some stats. I'm 32 years old. I've been training for around 12 years to give you like perspective. I've been in a gym since I was 14, so I've been active, playing rugby, playing sports, lifting weights for a very long time. I am 5'8" and I'm around 75 kilos just on an average day, and it ranges anywhere from 75 to 80 kilos, depends obviously on my weight. But when I do gain weight, which I do, it fluctuates very slightly all the time because of food challenges. Of course, I can't always keep on top of it. But you can barely see it, and it's because I hold weight really well, and that is genetics. So thank you, Mom and Dad. So I am in the gym pretty much every day. Okay. I'm doing something. Even my rest days are like active rest days. I'll do cardio, whatever. My split is not concrete right now. I kind of go off whatever feels okay to train that day. Like yesterday I went in and trained back, and today I know I'm not going to be training back.
Of course,
if that makes sense.
There
are some days that I will have off from the gym because I'm on a shoot or I'm doing something. I don't train before doing food challenges because you pump a load of blood into your body. Your stomach, you contract your muscles a lot. And if you contract that and keep that tight, you can't fit as much food in. So
I played football last night.
No longer do that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, that's what I do. My maintenance calories, I mean, I've not even thought to think of what it is these days. It was around 2,200, 2,400 calories. Bearing in mind I'm very active. Very active. My body, I've got muscle mass, like my body burns fat well. It knows how to work. I hope that I'm coming across all right here because I feel very robotic with it.
No, it's really good.
Yeah, good.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
The fasting stuff I find interesting as well.
Yeah, it really is just calories. And then if I was to downplay my calories and say that I have around 14,000 calories a week, and I do one day where my challenge is 3,000 calories, I subtract that and then divide the calories across the rest of the days. But again, it really does vary. It varies so massively. I could be doing a 10,000 calorie challenge and only have 4,000 calories.
For the rest of the week.
For the rest of the week.
Right,
but when you do a food challenge, I can't even explain it. You don't want to eat.
No.
You don't want to eat.
And
I pretty much finished on
the time.
that.
No, wait.
If it's a bit choppy, guys, we're struggling with someone with a jackhammer or something. But
it's like a really loud drill.
Yeah, it's like purposely drilling the loudest surface.
It's not even drilling anything. It's all right.
Cool.
Colin said I'll be all right, so I'll be all right.
Yeah.
So let me finish off. So I train all the time, every day, as much as I can, really. I don't see it as a chore. It's more of a habit than a hobby. It's something that I've been doing for very many years. It's not my identity. I don't identify as a fitness girl. I don't really identify as I guess I'm more of an eater these days.
There you go.
Yeah, I do what I need to do to maintain who I am, whilst doing what I do. So I don't want it to kind of be all-encompassing and suddenly like become the image of what people think of when they think of a competitive eater. And I'd like to think that I don't look like what people think of when they think of a competitive eater. So there's never really been a box for me to fit in, and so I'm now making my own.
That's the best way to be.
Great, nice.
That's amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll go for a break. We'll have a word with these builders, and when we get back, we're going to talk about Leah's 27 Guinness World Records. We will see you in a minute.
Look at that bite!
Oh my god. I've never seen anything like this. And we are away.
My jaw.
The record is 13 minutes. Leah is in game mode.
That she is one of the best at what she does. This is the equivalent of Dan and Lozzy fighting Anthony Joshua here, and I'll tell you,
They wouldn't stand a chance there either.
The crowd are going wild
the crowd
over this
are
pizza
going
challenge.
crazy.
But come on, boys, hang in there.
Right, the rum's kicked in.
Dan's looking up for God.
He will not save you,
Yeah.
mate.
I mean, out of the three of us, who needs more coconut?
Hey, no jokes, no jokes, no foul play.
That's sabotage, Loz. APMA, we're back. Leah's still here, and we've got lots of questions. I want to know about these Guinness World Records. I know you've got 27 of them, which is a lot, so we won't go into each individual one, but
Okay.
can we start with, like, what's the one you're most proud of?
Okay. So I guess the story behind the first one that I ever got is the best story, and I'm most proud of it because I did something that I didn't want to do, and I actually did it well. So I was contacted in 2018 by a TV company who were filming a show for UK TV, all about things that British people love. And this one was Britain's favourite chocolate. And they said, hey, so we saw on YouTube that you did the unofficial world record for the fastest time to eat a terrace chocolate orange. And I was like, oh yeah, that one. I remember it. I remember it well. The record at the time was 72 seconds. And I believe that I broke it by 2 to 4 seconds.
Nice.
And I thought, that's a win. That's a win. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
And I posted it on YouTube, thought nothing of it. They saw that, thought this would be fantastic for our show. Will you come and do it? And I was like, yeah, no, don't really want a world record. Not interested. And he was like, wait, what? We can do it officially. We'll contact Guinness World Records. We'll get an adjudicator on board. We can do it all officially. You'll get a certificate. You'll have a proper world record. And I'm like, yeah, no. Thank you, but no. Not willing to make a spectacle of myself in case I don't manage to do it.
Right.
So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no certificate is worth humiliation. So he then went away, and bless him, he called me back again. He goes, we'll pay you. I was like, I'm listening. So then that's how it all transpired, because I'm a businesswoman at the end of the day. Like, if I'm going to humiliate myself,
Yeah, you can't pay the
for
bills for
it.
Terry Chocolate Orange.
You know what I mean? There are certain things I will not do, but humiliation is not one of them. So I ended up being taken onto this TV set. It was in Leeds. God, I'm thinking right back. It's almost like pre-COVID didn't exist. So this was 2018. It was in Leeds. We were filming this show. I had never been on a TV show, I believe. Only the Japanese thing, and then I think this came up.
Right.
I did a couple of gigs for TV, but paid jobs for competitive eaters are like few and far between, especially for TV that's quite traditional, you know.
Yeah.
So I turn up and they want me to do this really cheesy like boxing routine to start off with. So there's a lot of like performative stuff that I would never do.
Right.
I'm not a boxer, and you can tell. I knock out a hot dog. I knock out, total knockout. The hot dog was on the floor.
Rest in peace.
Poor guy, he still follows you on Instagram. I see him sometimes. The producer, they put in the hot dog suit. I swear to God, it was the funniest thing in the world. It's like, just hit me as hard as you can. I'm like, you sure? Because I'm
He's had to go to hospital.
tank. So, yeah, I just... You know what? I was so tunnel vision, I probably wasn't thinking of anything. My mind just feels blank, as if the day just came and went really quickly. I sat down, we had an adjudicator. My first ever time even meeting Guinness World Record people, and I didn't know what to expect or what to do, but all I knew, that I was going to be sitting inside of a boxing ring at a table, and they were going to present me with a Terry's chocolate orange box, and the rest really is history. I broke the record. I set a new record of 65 seconds, which I've since broken again.
Nice.
I think the newest record's like 57 seconds. And yeah, it's my claim to fame.
That's
It's
cool.
how it started.
That's
And
incredible.
after that, I just had another TV show approach me. Do you want to break some more world records? Then Guinness World Records are like, hey, do you want to break some records on our set? I was like, yes. And then I went from like 1 to 6 or 7 in the first 6 months of doing this.
Yeah,
so
that's
I was
quality.
kind of propelled.
Yeah.
And then after that, during lockdown, it's very hard to collect the evidence to submit a Guinness World Record. It's not as easy as people think. It's a long process. It takes a lot of time, effort, energy, resources, everything.
Yeah.
You can imagine. And I ended up breaking like 15 during lockdown because they changed the rules to keep people submitting.
Right.
So they said that instead of having impartial people be your adjudicator, witness, so you need a witness, a timekeeper, an adjudicator to be privy to what's going on. Then you need 3 camera angles, a slow-mo, front view, and a side view. And then you also need someone taking continuous photos throughout the attempt.
So it's a big process.
Wow.
It's big. It's a big production.
Yeah.
But during lockdown, I was living with my parents, and I was like, everybody, gather around. We're going to break some records. And this is basically how we kept entertained. And we broke like 15.
That's amazing.
So we'd just do several in a day. I did like, I think I averaged around 4 or 5
a day.
a day. And then we submitted.
Sorry, these are world records.
World records. Yeah.
It's not
I am
like
all right at eating,
that's
yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Well, that's mad.
Oh
Is
my
there a
God.
record for the most world records?
There
Day.
isn't. I was told it's a really controversial topic.
Oh, really?
There is a man in America called Ashrita Furman, and he holds 600 plus.
Oh, geez.
In a day.
He's been breaking, not in a day.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, not in a day. I mean, just in general.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's been breaking world records since 1960 something.
Right.
And I believe it's a bit of a conspiracy that I have, but we're on conspiracies. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Love it.
Absolutely.
I think that the guideline game has been upped a huge amount since 2012, 14.
Yeah.
Because some of the records that I'm seeing, and I attempted a couple, and I didn't even get anywhere near. And I just think that the rules have changed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's made it kind of
Bit harder.
impossible to break.
Yeah.
So they're putting it out there. they're not all from today's guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten harder.
That's strange that they'd move the goalposts because obviously you can take on old records to break them. Of course you can.
Yeah.
But if the
that's
goalpost
interesting.
has been moved, then
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
actually taking on that
same-
record.
the same
You know
record,
what?
yeah.
I think maybe the goalposts haven't necessarily moved, but what you have to submit to prove that you've done
Right.
it
Right.
has
Okay.
moved.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have to submit so much more evidence and things like that. And I've been disqualified off the back of like a tiny bit of cucumber on my tongue that I could barely see, and I submitted it.
Really?
No.
And then they were like, yeah, disqualified because we can see that there's still...
No.
So you technically didn't finish it.
That's
What?
That's
Believe
crazy.
me, if we're talking rejection, I'm your girl. I've been rejected a lot of times. I could talk to you
Well,
about
so
rejection
they
all
would
day long.
literally disqualify you because you hadn't eaten, like
Like
it
a-
hadn't gone down your esophagus.
Right.
Right.
really.
Right.
It's that what's the word? I mean, I only word
Cutthroat?
anal.
Yeah, that is
It's
very.
That's pretty anal.
That is
I
very
think
much
they
so.
have to be. Otherwise,
The weird cucumber anal guy.
I'm sure there's a better word.
I think they do. They have to be very,
Very strict.
It's a
Yeah.
world
Restrictive.
record, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
Yeah.
you have
And the
to.
fact they send in a
Because if there's any wiggle room, then it's
Yeah.
just.
there's none. And I think that people have the impression that I have like some kind of in. I don't have an in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like I get disqualified like anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm
Probably
pretty
more than
right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they're like, oh, this girl again. They see my name. They're just like, you can take this one.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So, maybe not so much a Guinness World Record, but food challenges that have defeated you. Are there any?
There are.
Is there? What's the the standout one that's just like almost seems
He's got it in for you.
He has.
He has.
he loves that drill?
Jordan's on like,
He's like
Drill
shirt,
something.
shirt guys. Shirt guys.
Oh man.
drill anything.
I don't hate the
I know you
guy. I
are.
hate the tools. But yeah, it was. What's the?
Hate the game
That's
they play.
a quote and a half.
That's
isn't
it. What's the?
Don't hate the guy at the tools.
What's the
New merch.
standout? Yeah, new merch. What's the standout challenge
Standout
that
fails.
right now,
Yeah.
if I was to say you have to do this one, you'd go, no, not again.
Oh, okay. That wasn't a fail. I actually managed to do it, but I will never do it again. I did the UK's hottest pie, and it was a pork pie. Essentially, they just whipped the top off and filled it with like hot sauce.
Oh, okay, right.
So when I bit into it, just all the hot sauce just dripped out,
Oh.
and no gloves, and it was awful. And I was still burning like days later.
That
Just-
sounds awful.
That
Yeah.
goes beyond eating,
do you-
don't it? That's
It
a
does.
different.
It defeats the
different
object of challenges
Yeah.
because
Have
there
you?
has-
Sorry, have you
That's
seen this is related. Have you seen the Man vs. Food? I don't know if he sued them.
yeah,
But
hot
there was
wing.
that restaurant where
Mhm.
they stitched him up, and
Yeah.
whereas they'd normally, just for argument's sake, they'd put one chili in. Obviously, they wouldn't, but they put like 15 in for him.
Yeah.
Do you think there's ever anything like that with
Yeah,
yourself?
it's
Like
common.
they're trying to
Yeah,
fix it
it's
against you.
common. So I'm going to put this out there because I think I've not really spoken about it too much.
The drill guy's not going to let you. So.
He's like, you will not let out all the secrets.
He's a conspiracy guy. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Whatever are you going to tell?
He works for the Illuminati. He's like keeping everything.
She's going to say.
Yeah.
Ben's
dear.
the guy.
So there's a thing with competitive eating where restaurants and venues want to beat us,
Right.
Right. Okay.
but what is not the bigger picture is not being seen here.
Mhm.
We're not normal people, but challenges are made for normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we do is we promote it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
If I come into a restaurant and
Yeah.
I manage to do the challenge in 15 minutes, your average man's going to go, if the girl can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to get the venue a lot of profit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
To stitch me up,
Yes.
you're only stitching up yourself.
Counterproductive.
Very
It is
true.
counterproductive.
Very true.
So the challenges that, like what Adam Richmond had to deal with,
Yeah.
I feel for him because really the production team had a duty of care to make sure that everything was as
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
as it was for
Yeah,
everybody
Because
else.
he ended up in hospital in that specific
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, it's
That's bad.
not uncommon for venues to up the game
Right,
when
okay, yeah.
a competitive eater or somebody well-known comes in because
Yeah.
they want to be seen as the hardest and the best.
Yeah.
There are often challenges that are created just for show, just for the media,
Right,
just
okay,
to go,
right.
we've got the biggest breakfast. But
Yeah.
I work with restaurants to design challenges. And
Okay.
the reason for that is because I've gone in and I've gone, a person couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got to be
Yeah.
attainable for like
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
a small percentage of the population. Otherwise, what's if
Yeah.
everyone fails?
There needs
no
to be a
one's
few
gonna go.
pictures on the wall, doesn't there, of people
Yes.
that have
Yeah.
done it?
And the
Yeah.
way that I see it is, it's a great opportunity to showcase, one, how fun your venue is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Number two, how good your food is. And what do you
Yeah.
do best?
Yeah.
Supersize it, make it a challenge,
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it appealing.
yeah.
Is there a prize?
Mhm.
How big is it? Is there going to be a lot of waste?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the waste. That's what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like venues to make something attainable, attractive, Instagrammable. That is the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
People will order it to share just to get a photo of it.
Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
you're already winning. People are promoting it for free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Then someone like me comes in. Yes, most competitive eaters, we all should, but we all charge a fee to do challenges. We need to make money
Yeah,
doing our
100%.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And you're
it's-
promoting.
it's
You-
what-
yeah,
it's promotion.
promotion.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
advertisement.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
marketing.
good.
Yeah.
When you break it
I
down.
mean,
Yeah.
speaking of promotion, if we just quickly give a shout out to the Playhouse where we are right now in
Yeah,
Northampton.
big
Speaking
shout
of
out, Playhouse.
Instagrammable, this
Yeah.
place
It's-
is very
yeah.
cool. And there's all retro game and stuff and that. And they've given us this lovely fire pit table to do a podcast around. And we are going to be doing the meter-long pizza challenge
Yes.
shortly, where two of us are going to be taking on Leah, because I don't think any of us could do it alone. I don't think four of us could do it, but we're going to go, two of us versus you. How are you feeling about that? How do you feel about pizza challenges? Is there a difference?
I think all pizzas are different. We spoke about that earlier. All pizzas
The
are made
Domino's
differently.
conspiracy.
Don't come at me, Domino's. There's just better pizzas out there. Look, that's all I'm going to say.
Fucking savage.
I guess pizza, there's a fine line between it being too hot and too cold. So I guess if we get the temperature right, it will be an enjoyable challenge.
Oh yeah, you don't want that mouth burn.
No, you don't want that. That's a terrible start to a challenge.
I'd rather it be cold than hot,
So you're getting advice. You're getting bits of advice
Advice
already.
from the champ.
What other advice have you got for Dan and Loz? That'd be. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
Before
Tactics.
Or is she going to try and bluff us here?
Oh yeah, could be the
No,
Do the cross first, mate, and you're just absolutely done after.
So I think this is good.
eat a pizza before you do the challenge.
Warm up.
Have you all had breakfast? Prep yourselves.
What, you didn't eat a full Oh, you're going to lose.
There'll be lots of other people out there that will want to know. Like that are doing.
What's the go-to?
Okay, so I will give you tips.
Okay.
Some tips.
You're going to need them.
Yeah. Don't look over at what I'm doing. Focus on what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because you'll get
Just so we can't
demoralised.
That's amazing.
So it's just so we can't copy it.
Don't
copy my technique. The cheese swallow technique. The rarely chews.
If she's pulling them up, she's making a sandwich, I'm making a fucking sandwich.
I'm just going to destroy you, Mariah.
Every time you've took a sip of water, Lozzy's done exactly. He's just copying it.
Oh yeah, we're timing it.
Tips. So I would always recommend not focusing on what your opposition is doing. I think that's just a tip for life. Stop looking at what other people are doing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Focus on
It's
yourself.
deeper, isn't it?
It does go deep because psychologically we're so driven by the things going on, I guess subconsciously.
Yeah.
I've been demoralised by things for the dumbest reasons, and I've had to kind of fight it, and it's hard to fight it, so just don't do it.
Yeah.
Make sure that at every stage of eating this pizza, you're constantly like pulling the rest of it apart to kind of make it look less of a
a challenge.
less of a challenge.
Break it down.
Nice.
Break it down.
Nice.
I do this continuously. I think with pizza it's slightly easier because you do have a very distinct piece of pizza come up and out of the way every time.
Yeah.
So you'll stay motivated. Don't drink too much water or too much drink. I don't like drinking fizzy drinks whilst doing challenges. Some people do. I personally don't like it. I don't like the feeling of it. I think that it's gross.
Right.
So I recommend still drinks, and often like a flavoured still drink.
Okay.
Is a good way to go.
Any alcohol ever? Or no?
I mean, yeah, if you want to.
Oh, there we go. Rum
I
and Coke.
wouldn't. Beer. Beer's my worst nightmare. I did one challenge once at a beer cellar back when it was open in like Cheltenham or something, and it was a stein of beer and then like a ton of food. And I'm a non-drinker. Another reason how I managed to maintain my weight is that I'm a non-drinker and I save a lot of calories of a weekend. But I drank a stein of beer and ate all the food, and I set a record, but I was so drunk. And I had to be driven home, and I was so drunk. And I just remember just feeling not only full and horrendous, but also drunk. But yeah, claim to fame. It wasn't recorded, by the way, if you go looking for that video. This was before the channel times. This is just for banter. And boy, was it banter. More tips. Eat fast and furiously.
Fast and furious.
Fast and furious. I say that because if you get ahead of yourself, what's left doesn't seem so daunting.
Right.
But
Okay.
if you try and do this whole, I'm going to pace myself.
No.
Okay.
Smash
No,
it down.
that doesn't bode well with many people, because you pace yourself and you get to your natural set point of satiation, and your body's like, okay,
build momentum.
That's
That's
it.
But I don't know if it's true, but don't you? It takes about 20 minutes before it'll register to get full.
I'm about to debunk a myth.
Yeah, is that bullshit?
Myth.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's a myth.
It's a myth. Okay.
It's a myth. I think the reason for that is there was a huge push to encourage people to eat slower.
Right. Okay.
And then they wanted you to sort of chew more, better for your digestive system, and like encourage this like way of eating.
Yeah.
And so they push this narrative that it takes like 20 minutes for your body so just eat your food nice and slow. At 20 minutes you'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can be full in like 5.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it depends how much you're eating, how fast you can eat. Your body knows. Like, it's a
yeah,
clever machine. It knows when it's full. So myth.
That makes sense.
Debunked.
Yeah.
You're welcome,
There you go.
everyone.
Any last tips before you take it on? Because they're going to need all the help they can get.
Cheers, mate.
I
do agree.
I guess just believe in yourself, because I think that these two have an advantage over me simply because there are 2 people over 1. And even though I have been known to be an animal in the past. I'm also still human, so I have off days, and you can catch me on an off day. I'm not saying today's the day,
Maybe.
but so I just
There
think
we go.
a bit of self-belief. If you
Yeah,
doubt
yeah.
yourself, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
If you just go in with a good attitude, like you've got
Okay.
8% of the way there.
I mean, you are the APMA champion eater.
Yes.
You
After
won the
one
Devastator. You won the
Yeah.
Devastator challenge.
Well, there you go.
It's all possible.
I think like all those tips as well, you can use them in life as well.
Yeah,
I think it's
they're,
Yeah,
they're
it's
like-
true.
transferable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
transferable. So
Yeah.
if you can defeat the pizza, you can defeat
Life.
you can defeat life.
Win at life, win at pizza.
I think we'll finish with one more question, which is, obviously you are Europe's female number 1. Do you dream of, aspire for the world? Is that even a thing? Does that title exist?
Molly, do not come for me.
Oh.
I'm waiting for Molly Schuyler to retire.
Oh, right.
So that I can nip into her place. But no, women are very good competitive eaters. I think that there's a certain mentality and a certain ability to get over certain uncomfortable feelings that we have innately, and we are very good. There are some incredible competitive eaters, female competitive eaters in the world. I think I rank quite highly unofficially, and I'm happy to sit amongst them, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh,
It doesn't matter
that's
really
brilliant.
where.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
We're all
amazing.
very encouraging, I think, of each other. I mean,
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
of all of them. I love to see what they do, but
Yeah.
we all have our own niche
Yeah.
abilities, I
Mhm.
guess. And I think because of the world records, Molly and I are often very compared, because she's also got a couple, I believe. But she is phenomenal. I would never get to her level. I think she just has the edge on me with everything, with speed, capacity, everything. So yeah, big respect, and yeah, it's something to aspire to, I guess.
To be
Oh,
sitting
that's
though
really nice.
in the top something in the world at anything is
mad, isn't
amazing.
it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's incredible.
there's like 7
Oh,
billion people on
yeah.
the planet, and you're top 5, seconds. That's amazing.
And it's
Yeah.
eating. It's
Yeah.
it's one of the most important
Yeah.
things.
And
Yeah.
it's something.
Everyone,
And everyone does it.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it.
every
So-
single
Three
day.
times a day,
Yeah.
everyone's
doing
doing the
everything.
best. Yeah.
Just think there's probably
Yeah.
loads of football players or something that never touched the ball.
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
probably
yeah,
had the
yeah.
talent. Eating.
Yeah. Everyone.
Everyone eats.
We've all tried
Yeah.
to do a food challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
It's
It's
a
mad.
pretty-
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess I don't really see it in perspective a lot.
Yeah.
But equally, I do see that I would have never been the top % of anything doing anything fitness, and I wouldn't be the top % of anything doing anything to do with design. So my 2 other disciplines in life, I
Yeah.
studied architecture. I wasn't the 0.1% of architects or architectural
Yeah.
students, you know,
Yeah.
and I never was going to be. You just have to have a real raw talent at
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
and then just have a good mentality behind it. And
I feel like you could be.
You-
honestly.
yeah, you could
Because-
transfer it to something
Yeah,
else.
with
you
your
could,
mindset.
honestly.
Yeah.
I think you could.
Mindset is a lot.
Yeah. I think you
mindset is
could.
a lot. Maybe it's just that the passion wasn't there,
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's such a saturated market.
Yeah.
I mean, social media was never for me. I was never. It wasn't written in the stars for me. It's not a natural thing.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of hurdles
Yeah.
to kind of overcome to get where I am, and I think people appreciate it. I think they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
100%.
it's good. You're human. You're doing
Yeah.
something
Yeah, yeah,
weird.
yeah,
yeah.
We appreciate you trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You
I'm.
should be super
I'm on
proud.
board. No, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
That's
really
Oh,
good.
I appreciate that.
No, you're incredible, and this podcast I feel has been awesome.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
of course,
you,
this isn't
guys.
it for Leah on this channel. We have a special that we haven't filmed yet, but we're about to, that will be coming out very, very soon. But lastly, Leah, where can people find you?
Oh well, I'm the only Leah Shutkever in the world. So if you
That
go on
helps
to
a
if you
lot.
go onto Google and
That's
search,
amazing for branding.
Yeah.
that's it. There you go.
That
Be
is-
different. It's good branding. Leah Shutkever, Leah, and if you put in SHUTK, you'll get me, Leah Shutkever, across all channels. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. My TikTok's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's disturbing, but it's fun. So yeah, follow me, guys. Let me know that you've come from this podcast, and I'll be nice to you.
Awesome.
There we go.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Right, let's go and film a special. Up the APMA. See you
Up the
later,
APMA.
guys. Okay, just a little word from me. because we're not quite back yet. We're not quite ready yet. I know you guys have been so patient with us and we really appreciate it. Basically, the old studio was set up in Hobojack HQ and the factory for Hobojack, the clothing company, and they have obviously moved to a new building, which is why we're moving as APMA to a new building. And the building is going to be like the forever home, if you like, of APMA and of Hobojack. But the building wasn't quite ready, you know, the electrics and also the logistics of moving a clothing factory from one place to another is enormous. There are massive machines that need to be dismantled and remantled in the new factory and stuff, and all of this stuff, all these moving pieces need to be in place. You know, the electrics need to be done, it needs to be mold removed and repainted, and skylights and aircon and all sorts of stuff, and obviously the actual studio to be decorated and built and stuff. So we're not quite there yet, but we're close. We're very, very close. And when we're back for good, okay? So we just need you to be a little bit more patient. We were going to hold on to this episode and this special and then put it out amongst the new stuff that we're doing, but we thought, you know, you guys have been waiting for so long, you need a little something in between. But that's not to say like this is the halfway point, because it's not. We're a lot closer to the studio than we have been away, if that makes sense. But we'll be back very, very soon. We promise, with lots of really good stuff. Just hold on a little bit longer. Thank you so much. We'll see you very soon up the APMA.